We need Pecco back. Why Marquez is standing firm behind supersensitive Bagnaia. Marquez just sent a very clear message to Ducati and the MotoGP paddock. Don't you dare give up on Francesco Bagnaia. Despite one of the strangest and most frustrating seasons of his career, Bagnaia is still, in Marquez's eyes, a pillar of Ducati's future, not just as a race winner, but as one of the most sensitive and valuable development riders on the grid. We need Pecco, Francesco Bagnaia, to come back to his level because he's super sensitive on the bike and it will help a lot for the future, Marquez told MotoGP.com. Sometimes, only 2 months are enough to reset everything, so December and January will be the best time for Pecco to reset everything and restart in Malaysia test. That's not a throwaway compliment. Coming from a 7-time MotoGP champion who just delivered a monster season, it's a pretty loud vote of confidence.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
To understand why Marquez's words matter, you have to look at where Bagnaia is coming from. This isn't some mid-grid rider hitting a rough patch. This is MotoGP World Champion in 2022 and 202,311 Grand Prix wins in 2024. The man who, for a while, looked like he was building a Bagnaia era at Ducati. But 2025 played out like a bad plot twist. Only 4 wins all year, including sprints, a bizarre crash from last place in Indonesia, 0 finishes in the last 5 Sunday races, dropped from a solid 3rd in the standings to 5th as Marco Bezzecchi and Pedro Acosta surged late in the season. For a rider used to fighting for titles, that's not just a dip, that's a full-on confidence earthquake. If you listen to Bagnaia's interviews across the season, one phrase kept coming back. I have no feeling with the front. For most riders, that's a problem. For Bagnaia, it's a catastrophe. His whole style is built on braking late and hard, trusting the front end, completely carrying edge grip and control into corners where other riders are already at the limit. In his title years, that front-end confidence was his weapon. It allowed him to brake deeper, lean more, and still make it look clean and controlled. Take that away, and suddenly, the bike feels nervous on corner entry. Braking markers move earlier. Every mistake makes you even more tense the next lap. That's how you end up in the spiral Bagnaia lived through in 2025. Same complaints, same problem, mounting frustration, and results that don't match the talent. When Marquez calls Bagnaia super sensitive on the bike, he's not saying Pecco is fragile. He's saying Pecco is high definition. Some riders need big changes to feel a difference. Others can tell if you've moved the balance by 0.2% or changed the front by the tiniest amount. Bagnaia belongs to that second group. To a factory like Ducati, that kind of rider is gold. He can quickly detect whether a new part, aero tweak, or geometry change is better or worse. He can help engineers understand why a certain setup works in one condition and fails in another. He can point out subtle issues long before they show up clearly in the data. In other words, in a MotoGP era where margins are microscopic, a super-sensitive rider is a development weapon, not a liability. That's why Marquez's line, "It will help a lot for the future," hits so hard. He's basically saying, you want to keep winning in the next era? You need a guy like Pecco pushing the bike to the limit and telling you exactly what it's doing. It would be easy for outsiders to write off Bagnaia's 2025 as a collapse. Marquez isn't having it. For me, the speed of Pecco is there. The speed is there, he insisted. He is showing it in some practices, in some races. I mean, in Motegi GP, what he did. He took 37 points, and I pushed and I was not able to catch him. That reference to Motegi is important. It's proof that the raw pace hasn't disappeared. When the bike gives him the feeling he needs, Bagnaia still knows how to turn it into serious points. His problem isn't talent. It's connection between rider, bike, and confidence. For a teammate like Marquez to publicly highlight that one of Bagnaia's best weekends came even while they were directly fighting each other says a lot. It's not just politeness. It's a subtle way of telling the world. Don't get it twisted, this guy is still dangerous when things are right. The most powerful line from Marquez might be the simplest. Sometimes, only 2 months are enough to reset everything. It's a very rider thing to say. In motorsport, the off-season isn't just a physical break, It's a mental factory reset. Here's what Marquez is really hinting at. December and January give Bagnaia a chance to step away from the chaos of race weekends, get distance from the frustration and noise, work on fitness, rehab, and mental clarity. By the time Malaysia testing comes around, he can arrive as a slightly different person, less tense, more open to feeling the bike again, ready to approach the GP26 like a fresh project, not a continuation of a nightmare. We've seen it before in MotoGP. One bad year doesn't mean the story is over. Riders have bounced back from worse. And coming from Marquez, a guy who lived through years of pain, surgeries, and doubts after his own arm injury, that belief in reset mode carries real weight. Make no mistake, Ducati is already all in on Marc Marquez as the flagship. His results, personality, and story make him the obvious center of the project right now. But in an ideal world, Ducati doesn't want only Marquez firing. It wants Marquez as the reference, the serial winner, the guy you can always count on to fight up front. Bagnaia as the ultra-precise, super-sensitive teammate, constantly pushing development, punishing rivals on his good days, and acting as insurance when races get weird. And that's where Marquez's comments are bigger than just being a nice teammate. He's sending a strategic message. Pecco isn't just a guy having a bad year. He's a key piece of Ducati's long-term puzzle. In a field where Bezzecchi, Acosta, Martin, Bastianini, and others are all snapping at the front, having two elite riders in your factory box is the difference between dominating and just surviving. Strip everything else away, and there's one more layer to this. Marquez didn't need to say any of this. He could have focused only on his own season, talked about the bike, let the headlines swirl around Bagnaia's slump. Instead, he went out of his way to praise Bagnaia's speed, his sensitivity, his potential to help Ducati a lot for the future. That's not just PR. That's one multiple champion recognizing another, not as a rival to bury, but as a crucial ally inside the same garage. And for Bagnaia, hearing that from Marc Marquez might be exactly the kind of fuel he needs heading into the winter. Now, everything points toward one big question for 2026. Does Bagnaia use this winter to reset, reconnect with the front end, and come back like the ice-cold killer he was in 2022-2024? Or does 2025 mark the beginning of a longer struggle for identity in a team that is increasingly shaped around Marc Marquez? If you believe Marquez, the answer is clear. Pecco isn't done. He's just in the middle of a reset. And if that reset works, Ducati might not just have the best rider in the world. It might have the most dangerous dual threat pairing MotoGP has seen in years.